You guys, all right, can you hear me? Cool. So, how many of you guys are familiar with adult daycare or senior daycare or daytime senior care and activities? Yeah, okay. You've heard of it. Okay. Well, so, ideally, I'm. This is probably one of my favorite services. I'm very biased towards this particular type of service. We have home care, we have assisted living, and we also have adult daycare. And in the last 10 years, this is the one service that I've ever seen that has truly changed people's lives. Not because it was just, like home care is necessary, assisted living is necessary maybe at some point. There's a reason why someone would need those services, but with adult daycare, it's one of these things that it really improves people's lives. It gives them, something to look forward to. It gives them hope, a social network that maybe they had lost. I always paint the picture of like, can you imagine being, 85, 95, being by yourself, not having a family nearby, not having your husband or your wife anymore, and you're alone, and you can't even drive anymore. And you wake up in the morning, and like, what do you have to look forward to? What's the thing to look forward to for that day? Your friends may not be around anymore. You may not be able to call them. You might not have that social connection with people anymore. I think about that time in my life. I'm like, I love the whole idea of retirement. It's exciting. Yay, we're gonna travel the country and have fun. But then like, what happens when you get to that point? You think after you've lived this full life, So to me, I guess when I got in that mindset, I'm like, man, like that is like it kills me to think about people that are in that situation. And the thing is like if you could bring all of those people together and give them a kind of a community, a network, that socialization with others, new friendships, something to look forward to, and help them have a meaningful life. And we opened our adult daycare about 3 years ago, and it was like one of these things where probably within the first 3 to 6 months, I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally changing people's life. Cognitive function was increasing, range of motion, physical abilities increasing, just complete, outlook. People were just having such a better quality of life. And so I became very biased about it. So I'm really passionate about this particular topic. But I'll kind of go through kind of like what is it, like how do you find something like this? What does it cost? The differences on the types of daycares that you might find, because not every single one is going to be the same. And then like after I talk today, there's a lady coming in, Lisa Cope, who has it's a similar program, but it's more of an insurance-based model called PACE programs, which is a program for like all-inclusive elderly something. The acronym is PACE, okay? But basically, it's more of an insurance model where you are kind of selecting an insurance, and then it includes adult daycare as a component of it. Where what I'm going to talk about today is going to be specifically like it's primarily focused on just the care aspect, or helping you get a respite when you're thinking about caring for your loved one, or maybe even something that might be for your mom or your dad or something like that, when you think about them being maybe home alone or not having, and you see them declining, and you're worried about like what's going to happen in the future if we don't see a change in their life. So that being said, we'll get into the educational stuff. So alternative names might be adult daycare center, adult day health care, daytime senior care and activities, or senior daycare. I hate all of these terminologies, but the reality of it is, if I called it something else, you would have no idea what it is, So it's like, it's kind of that necessary evil where even though I hate the terminology behind it, that's why we use daytime senior care and activities, because to the family caregiver, it kind of maybe is an easy thing to understand, like what we do. The kind of general overview of it is it's a safe and supervised environment during the daytime, maybe Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday. It provides assistance with the activities of daily living, so any of those types of things that might be helping with transferring, toileting, grooming, just any of the kind of traditional, personal care needs. And then also there's that daily activities program. There's maybe live music, there's dancing, there's singing, there's cooking classes, there's all sorts of different games and activities that we're playing, or social things that we're doing to keep everyone engaged during the day. So who benefits from adult care? Obviously, adult children, the spouse, a friend or a neighbor, responsible party, that person that might be taking care of someone. You fear that leaving your loved one, maybe you have to work during the day and you fear leaving them home during the day, and you're like, I just want to make sure that they're in a safe place that I don't have to worry about, so I can go to work, or so I can volunteer, or so I can be with others. Or maybe they you work at home, but your loved one needs you a lot, and it's a little distracting. It makes it hard for you to work from home, because maybe they get a little agitated sitting in the chair and they want to go do something, but you're worried about them walking safely to the other room, and all these things kind of keep interrupting your day, and it makes it hard to work from home. Or maybe you just need a break. You're experiencing that caregiver burnout. Or maybe you want to pursue a new hobby, but you don't have the time or the ability to go and pursue that new hobby because you can't leave your loved one alone. Maybe the other thing is too is you're not ready for your loved one maybe to move into a facility. You don't want you want to be able to still take care of them, but you're just trying to find that break. How do I get this temporary solution? Maybe you're fearing that your loved one is depressed or is lacking that socialization. They don't have those friends anymore, and you're worried about them giving up. Or maybe they're seeking attention from you a lot, and it's making it more difficult because if they have no one in their life anymore, they might do things that just irritate the hell out of you, they're just doing it because they just want attention. They want someone to talk to, or they want someone, they want to feel love still, So it's tough when you're the family caregiver and you're that primary caretaker because, they don't, it's hard for them to understand how that is affecting you. And because maybe they have mild onset of dementia or Alzheimer's, it's hard for them to really comprehend. You can't really explain to them how this is affecting you. So, why adult daycare? Well, one of the reasons it's about half the cost of home care. So if you were gonna think about taking, you got to keep someone, you're trying to help your loved one stay at home, right? That's the goal. So you could bring someone into the home, and you could pay a home care agency to bring a caregiver or a CNA into your home, but it's going to be $25 to $30 per hour. So with adult daycare, that hourly rate might be somewhere between $14 to $16 an hour. So it might be about half that cost of your traditional at-home care, and you're accomplishing the same goal if it's maybe a daytime solution, You're reducing that isolation and the loneliness. You're reducing depression. You're increasing that person's socialization. You're helping to avoid your own caregiver burnout. You're increasing the kind of nutrition intake. What's unique is when you, so one of our members, she came from up north. She moved down here, and she was living up north by herself, and her sons were checking in on her. And she had stopped eating. She had stopped going to her local senior center. It wasn't a daycare, but it was just her, they would drop her off for a few hours, see her friends, but she just wasn't able to do that as much anymore. So she kind of got into a funk. She stopped eating. Because she stopped eating, she didn't have the right nutrition. She started declining, hospital visits, UTIs, things were coming up. And it was leading to more and more problems that the sons were just I don't know what to do. So they reached out to their sister, who was a nurse in Florida, and she moved down. Well, she got here, and she was still not eating. And so when she got into our environment and she was around others and they were all eating together, she didn't even think about it. Next thing you know, the whole sandwich is gone, and it had nothing, she didn't even know it was just because she was around others and she's eating and they're eating and and she's not sitting there dwelling on oh, I'm so full. Or sometimes when you're in that depression, you look at that sandwich and it looks like it's so much work, to eat that, or you just have no reason and you're just not feeling it. But when you're around others, it kind of increases their socialization. And what's interesting is there's actually a lot of scientific evidence behind these things I'm talking here. There's that increased strength and balance. There's the fact that it could be guilt-free care. So sometimes when you think about assisted living or maybe private duty in-home care, you might hire those services and maybe your loved one hates it. Maybe they don't like that caregiver. Maybe the assisted living facility, every time you go there, they tell you how much you hate it, and you leave there knowing they're in a good place because the people are really, really wonderful, but you leave there feeling like, like sad because they express to you how much they hate it. And you're like, I don't want them to hate it, but I can't do it myself. So the fact that like maybe this environment creates an environment where they want to go. All of a sudden, now you can't, when you go to pick them up, they don't want to leave because they're having so much fun. And so now you create this environment where now you feel good bringing them because they want to be there and they want to see their friends. So another kind of perk, especially as a family caregiver. Types of adult daycare models, you have a social model, medical model, and kind of your PACE program. Again, Lisa will be talking about the PACE program, but the social model and the medical model are kind of the more common ones. We have more of a social model. I look at our model as almost a direct competitor to private duty home care. Like, meaning the reason why you would call private duty home care would be the exact same reason why you might call us. The only difference is that they might be able to help you overnight and other times of day, where we might be more of that option that's kind of like Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5. So if it's kind of like those general hours that make sense, then we're really helping families that have loved ones that have that same level of need, same care need. So where we can focus on the ADLs and all of those things, we can help someone with the restroom. If they have incontinence care needs, we can help them with that. We have all of those same capabilities in that environment. We have catered lunch every day, so its lunch is included. We're overseeing, making sure they're eating, and we're documenting all that stuff. We're making sure they have snacks and drinks and that they have plenty of hydration. We're able to transport to and from our center. So if transportation was like the problem, where before maybe home care was an easier option. I need to go water, but like I don't have one, so getting a little dry mouth. I've been talking too much. Lose my voice. Anyways, but if transportation, like, if that was the issue, why maybe you're like, I don't want to do that because I can't take them there every day. I don't have the time to do that, and that's why we're going to do home care. Well, maybe that adult daycare has and offers transportation. Like we offer transportation to and from the home. If that person needs to be walked to their front door, we'll walk them to their front door. We'll communicate with the families ahead of time what time we're going to be there and kind of make that transition easier for them. And then that way it kind of takes that additional workload off of the family caregivers. We can also help out with showers, hair, nails. We have a salon. So, no more trips to Great Clips and the nail salon and all these different places to try to make sure that mom or dad are taken care of, or my loved one's taken care of. So the medical model might include a few other services like occupational therapy, physical therapy. Thank you so much. Hold on one second. I just got to do a little swing. Thank you. All right. How am I doing on time? Are you doing good? That was perfect. That's what I needed. Thank you. So the medical model might include medication administration. So if someone needed insulin, injections and stuff like that, where they needed like a nurse to actually do it. See, we can provide medication reminders in a social model, meaning if that person just needs to be reminded, like if they have that medication on hand and all we have to do is remind them to take it, then we could do that. But if that person needed someone to actually maybe give them the insulin injection, then we might not be able to do that in a social model environment. So we can still help manage medications, but we may not be able to do some of the more skilled nursing types of things as opposed to like the medical model, which would allow for that. Some medical models have case management involved too, where they might help out with other things into the home, like organizing services, providing like maybe medical equipment, company to come out to the house, or helping to orchestrate some of that. So again, Lisa will go over the kind of the PACE program and how that works. It's more of an insurance program. Think of like choosing a Medicare supplement plan that has like an all-inclusive benefit for senior-related services, and part of that is an adult daycare option where you kind of go to the center for your medical needs, whereas like our social model might be more of the activity, care, socialization, things like that. So I don't know how that got on there. I don't know, that slide was supposed to be somewhere else. All right, we'll talk about this one. So let me make sure we got the right slides. Okay, cool. So Medicare, those that may have been in the assisted living conversation might be familiar with this particular slide, but Medicare itself does not pay for adult daycare, private duty in-home care, or assisted living, or services that might like help with some of those kind of ongoing chronic care needs. And so this is one of those things where people always ask us, like, does Medicare cover it? And I hate that, I hate bursting everyone's bubble when they ask me that. I'm like, yeah, it does. Come on in. It's free. But it's not, so it does cost money. But the primary and most common way is private pay. And then what is interesting is in adult daycare, there is a Medicaid managed care program. And so sometimes if someone meets the income requirements and the asset requirements, they can qualify for Medicaid. And if they qualify for Medicaid, they can basically get enrolled into an insurance program through their Medicare provider. So it would be like United Healthcare or like Aetna or Humana. They would have a Medicaid managed care program that is both dual Medicare and then it's dual enrollment. So it's like Medicare and Medicaid. That particular dual enrollment will then allow for them to maybe receive adult daycare services. You would get with a case manager if they were on this particular program. That case manager that you would probably already be in contact with or would maybe have an insurance card with the contact information of that person, they would be able to set up like, do they qualify for 3 days a week, 4 days a week, or 5 days a week, and this would all then be covered by that Medicaid managed care program. It would just depend on the adult daycare as to whether or not they accept Medicaid. So in our program, we do accept Medicaid for adult daycare. We are about 10% of our members are on Medicaid, whereas the other 90% rely on like private pay, long-term care insurance, or VA aid and attendance. And so the long-term care insurance will typically pay for services like private duty home care, assisted living, or adult daycare. Alternative options would be general VA benefits. Outside of VA aid and attendance, there are some VA medical benefits that might cover adult daycare. The thing is that VA has so many benefits. It's a matter of finding the right VA contact to help you understand what options might be available to you. If you went to Ivy Winkler's speech today, or if you would like to at some point maybe on the recording, her particular topic is a great one for understanding VA benefits and what's available to you. But that is a topic that was covered today. Or I think I saw her earlier, so I think she already spoke on it. But I'm pretty sure we recorded that. So, and then reverse mortgages or workers' compensation, some of those things, again, will pay for adult daycare. All right, the cost. So the typical way that adult daycare works when it comes to costs is a per day or a half day rate. So the typical national average rate is $74 a day, and the half day rate so Genworth does a study every year of the cost of care, but they don't have a high focus on the cost of care for adult daycare. So they only had a national average, and it was only for a full day rate. But if you had a half day rate, you would typically see that $45 to $60 range, or maybe that $70 to $100 range for a full day rate. Now, the way we do it is a different model, and some of the adult daycares do this model, but it's not as common, and we charge an hourly rate. So in our setting, basically you come in for like every 15 minutes. We bill in 15-minute increments. So you could literally come for lunch for an hour, leave, or bring your loved one for an hour because you got to run an errand, leave, and you would only get billed for like that 1 hour, And we set it up that way because it gives families flexibility. They don't feel like they have to like get their half day in or their full day in if they paid for it. They don't have to feel like they're getting cheated by that extra $20 or $30. So it's, come and use it how it works for your schedule and your needs. So we bill, and our rates are $14 to $16 an hour, but you might see rates kind of between 12 and 18 depending on the location, the adult daycare center, and things like that. Who provides care? So typically it's going to be a home health aide, a CNA. Everyone's going to have a level 2 background check, first aid CPR, and then all of the training that is kind of corresponds to their particular industry. So every industry, like home care, assisted living, adult daycare, they all have certain requirements for classes that maybe that are required for the state, and so we would make sure that all of our folks have those requirements. Okay, so some part of my slide didn't get on there. I don't know what happened, but you know what? It's okay. Um, so there was more to this slide, and we were and somehow my home care slide and our adult daycare slide got merged on here. But you know, hey, we were up to about 1:30 last night finishing everything, so you know things might have gotten a little crosshaired, you know. But you know, maybe I'll just answer questions for the last 5 minutes if you guys have any questions on adult daycare. One of the things that I was going to put up there was all the stats from a lot of the research studies that talked about the isolation and malnutrition because of because of isolation and depression and stuff like that. But I mean, I'll answer some questions if you guys have questions about adult daycare. Yes. How, how about I'll paint you a day, a typical day. How's that sound? So typically, you know, people might come in around 8 o'clock. Linda and so Debbie, some of our folks that are here today that you may have met, they'll prepare a continental breakfast. It might be bacon or pancakes or maybe oatmeal or whatever, and we'll get their coffee set up, and we got music playing in the background. And then at that time, like from 8 to 9, they're reading the newspaper together. They're kind of sitting and socializing in maybe a smaller group. By like 9 to 10 o'clock, you have more and more people coming into the center, and we're starting to roll into maybe our morning exercises and some of the kind of the movement stuff. Whether it's sitting down exercises like chair exercises, or whether it's stretching of some sort, or whether we have a program going and we have someone coming in. Typically be exercises in the morning. Then we'll roll into some different table games. We might split up into 4 or 5 different groups. We'll have an activity director at each table helping to lead the activities at each group. Come 11 o'clock now, we might wind into kind of like more of a trivia type thing, or do a devotional with everyone. We might do some singing as we start to prepare for lunch. They'll bring in a catered lunch, and then so around 12 o'clock every day we have a catered lunch for all of our guests, and it's through a local deli. It's wonderful. They have homemade soups and sandwiches, and we kind of cater our menu to depending on the needs of maybe someone's gluten-free, or someone's has a certain preference when it comes to food. We'll help cater that. Maybe a salad as opposed to a sandwich. And then about 12:30, we'll wrap up and start preparing for our live music. So everyone will get up, they do like this exercise, they walk around the room, they stretch, and then we'll roll into live music from 1 to 2. And from 1 to 2, it's like dancing and live music, and everyone's up and moving and having fun. And then usually from about 2 on is a combination of going back and forth from table games to maybe playing like indoor volleyball, or we will play like cornhole, or some of these, just a bunch of different games. Typically, we have like 3 to 4 games going at a time. And so the entire day, from the time they get there to the time that they leave for the day, is just jam-packed with all sorts of fun and exciting things. And we have 2 activity directors, and then we have kind of our care team. So the care team is like overseeing, helping with the bathroom or incontinence care, or maybe showers. We may help them get someone to and from our hair salon. And then the activity directors are making sure that everyone's having fun. So it's like the activity director's role is like a cruise ship to make sure that everyone's having a good time, and they're laughing, and they're smiling, and they're having a good time. So I don't know if that and then everyone gets picked up around 5, and we do it all over again the next day. Yes. So we have not done, so the hard part about the trips is because we have about 30 to 40 people there during the daytime, that typically the environment itself is that person's trip for the day. We have thought about doing isolated trips for our like more independent folks. So we, for those that are like extremely active and would be able to maybe go on a trip safely, we have explored that idea, and we've done a couple, but not scheduled, because it's hard to make sure that we have all of those right people on the same day. So typically, and then also making sure like the timing works out with their families for them to come. So we have definitely talked about it, but we haven't implemented it as like a weekly thing. But the environment itself is so active that it itself typically is that excitement for the day. So I got the boot, I got the cutoff. So I know we got other speakers coming in. I guess we can, if you guys have any other questions, I can meet you guys in the consultation area, or we can maybe sit here until the next speaker shows up. So the way we build in I'll just talk until maybe they come. Is that okay? Okay, yeah. As soon as she comes in, I'll leave and we can go talk in the consult. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Who? Yeah, that's true. If you are you guys planning on going somewhere else or staying for Lisa? You staying for Lisa? Okay. So to answer your guys' question, we actually include so in our hourly rate, basically what happens for those on transportation when we pick them up, that's the starting time of their hourly rate. So basically, yeah, we'll go there. We'll go there. Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about it specifically if you want to. So.